Hello, welcome to Movies I Love with yours truly, Nomfanelo Malloy. So, the film that I'll be discussing is a fun one. So, I will be talking about the classic 1984 film Purple Rain, or Purple Rain, Purple Rain. And I'm talking about it because this year marks the film's 40th anniversary. So the film is directed by Albert Magnoli, and it stars Prince, Apollonia, and Morris Day. So let's get into the film. So I have watched this movie many times so throughout the years. I first watched this film back when I was in high school when my mom bought the DVD of it. And when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, it's not bad because I've heard about the film prior, but I just never got around to it. And I think it was around this time where I started to listen to more of Prince's music. And then after watching this film for the first time, just made me appreciate his music even more. Now, the film itself is kind of cheesy here and there, but I didn't really care at the end of the day because I was just thoroughly entertained. And there's some debate going on whether like this is actually based off his life or not, but regardless, I enjoy the film for what it is. So, in terms of what stands out to me for this movie, is that Prince, he's not bad as an actor. I mean, sure, he is kind of playing like a version of himself in terms of his character being very like mystique, similar to how Prince is, I guess, in terms of his perception and all that stuff, and just always wanting to like command the room, like with his presence and all that stuff. So, but yeah, like he's just not bad, and he does show like moments of humor. um like there's a moment where he is playing with this puppet in his dressing room. It does kind of sound like him, like when he does the voice. So if it's not, then I was convinced it was him. So I thought that moment was funny. Also, too, that whole Lake Minotagua sequence with Apollonia is funny. So he does show some moments of humor here and there throughout the movie. While also, too, like he's not bad with the dramatic chops, particularly with the whole storyline with him and his parents, where there's some like abuse happening inside that household. So he was able to carry his own in this movie, even though it may not be far off from Prince in real life. Again, if the whole movie based on his life is accurate. So also too loved Morris Day and the time. They are hilarious as a comedic relief, which seems to be their role in this movie. And also too, they're like Prince's like competition in this movie. It's hilarious. Like with Morris, he always tries to flirt, particularly with Apollonia, and yeah, it does come across as try hard and all that stuff. But yeah, it just always cracks me up every time when he displays that side to him. And there was a moment like during the opening sequence where they show him briefly. He's like vacuuming his room, wearing like the red tank top and shorts with the bandanas. It's hilarious, but he always keeps it classy, I suppose. So that was just fun. Um, Also too, I thought, yeah, like the music, of course, is the star of this movie. Like, I mean, Prince with The Revolution, of course, fantastic. Because I talked about the soundtrack of this movie when I did my top 40 soundtracks list, which you could check out. So I'm not going to reiterate too much, but yeah, it's no surprise why, Purple Rain is like one of the greatest, albums of all time. And I thought, yeah, too, the supporting characters are fine. Yeah, Apollonia is not bad in this movie. Also too, yeah, with the band members, they hold their own in this as well too. So I think like for the film itself, yeah, it's not bad. Even though there there it could be improved here and there. It's just like for what it is, I'm just thoroughly entertained by it. So I want to go over what else? Some shots. There was a shot that stood out to me. Um, the opening during the opening scene with Prince's silhouette when he's performing "Let's Go Crazy." I thought that was a cool shot. With it looks like the light purple smoke in the background and him just standing there with the guitar. I thought that's cool. And then they tried to do a version of that towards the end when he's performing oh my god, I forgot the name of the last song, but that upbeat song, "Baby I'm a Star." Yeah, that's the song. Um, and yeah, I thought like too, yeah, the use of the production design is good. It does not it's not like exquisite and all that stuff, but just the way the things are put together in terms of like the cinematography. Oh, the costumes are cool also too. So yeah, so I would say kudos to the cast and crew for doing a good job with this movie. Now, in terms of critiques that I have, I always had this question: why is Prince's character called the kid? Because clearly he is not a kid. Because I just wondered, like, is that a name that people like gave him? I guess when he started out in the business and then just continued to use it. I wasn't too sure on that. Also, too, why does the kid act like a jerk throughout this movie? Like, particularly when, like, Lisa and Wendy want to contribute their piece, to the band and all that stuff. He always dismisses it throughout, but then he later accepts it, towards the end to use for Purple Rain. So is it like to show that, yeah, like he's an asshole, doesn't want anyone to contribute their ideas. He wants to do what he wants to do essentially. So I don't know. I don't know. Um, and then also to the fact that with the club owner and like Morris, they want to throw the kid out of here because of his behavior and all that stuff. Because at the beginning, like I wasn't convinced by it because they mentioned that no one wants to listen to his music and all this stuff when we saw in the opening sequence, that was the opposite of that. People were vibing to "Let's Go Crazy" and all that stuff. So I'm just wondering, like, is it pure jealousy, like, for Morris to get him out of here? That's what it seems like to me. But yeah, like, I guess like their point is kind of proven, like when he starts to mistreat Apollonia, and when he performed with the Darling Nikki song with that whole sequence. So I just think that like if that's how the character is supposed to be with the kid, they could have displayed that earlier in the movie. But yeah, I just felt like at the beginning I didn't believe their case until those events later on. Um, Also too, Apollonia and the kids' relationship, for me, it could have been played out better because it felt forced in terms of them like mutually liking each other. Because it felt clear that she's there to be like the love interest and all that stuff. So and their like first encounter was hilarious because he's just like staring at her and then like she's staring at him and then he's like standing behind her as she is standing towards the stage. I thought that was hilarious. Like I didn't get why like he was just staring at her like that, but but yeah, that yeah, their whole relationship could have been played out better, even though like it was obvious that they're going to be romantic partners. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. What I have in terms of critiques for this movie. Apart from yeah, like it's cheesy here and there essentially. And let's talk about. I want to talk briefly about Graffiti Bridge. So Graffiti Bridge was a sequel that I believe came out in '91 or the early '90s. Prince directed that. Yeah, that movie is not good for various reasons. It was just all over the place and it tried to incorporate a lot of symbolism, surrealism, and all that stuff. It just did not land. But what worked about that movie, I would say, is the soundtrack, for the most part. I would say the ones that stood out to me from that film were "Thieves in the Temple Tonight," which Prince performs, and Tevin Campbell with his song "Round and Round," because I always find that song to be catchy every time I listen to it. But really, the film itself is not great, but for a lot of reasons. But music itself, not bad. And it was announced earlier this year that there's going to be a Purple Rain musical on Broadway, which is expected to debut in 2025 in Minneapolis. So I'm like, when I first heard, I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, okay. So we'll just have to wait and see how that pans out, if it does actually come to fruition. Um, but um, but yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. Because I don't know what's the creative team behind this, but I think it's clear that the Prince Estate supports this and is essentially behind this project. So we'll see how that goes. And also, too, I saw this before I was recording that if you're in the Ottawa area, Bytown Cinema, they're going to be screening Purple Rain as part of their Drunken Cinema series in August. So if you want to watch that movie on the big screen, you could check it out at Bytown Cinema. And I'm sure, yeah, too, like throughout the year, the Prince Estate, they're going to hold these different events related to Purple Rain in honor of its 40th anniversary. Because I believe it was last month or so, they held like a whole Purple Rain celebration in Minneapolis where they screened the film, talked to some of the people involved with that film and all that stuff. So I'm sure stuff like that's going to continue throughout the year. And I do hope with the Prince Estates, they, because I know they have like this podcast series where they revisit Prince's work. Because I know recently they did, oh gosh, the Diamonds and Pearls with that whole album with New Power Generation. So I hope they do one for Purple Rain. If not this year, hopefully sometime in the future. Because yeah, that whole podcast series is fun to listen to. So if you haven't listened to that podcast series, I would recommend that to you. So that's pretty much what I have for this video. So let me know, what do you guys think about Purple Rain? Does it hold up to you? What stands out to you for this movie? What works? What does not work? Also, too, do you plan to check out any of the events related to Purple Rain, like with the Broadway when that comes out, or if you plan to watch any screenings of the movie, let me know in the comments section. So also too, if you want to support me, you could visit my Buy Me a Coffee link, which is in the description. Also too, you could check out my socials in the description. And I want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I hope to catch you on the next one.